Hi, trendsetters, intrepid viewers everywhere. Thanks for cruising by. We've got a lot to talk about today because finally there's movement. I mean, Brazil and Peru and other countries have managed to, despite all their issues, deal with this sort of stuff much faster than the US of A. But finally, a letter has been given from Jack Smith directly to the Yeti. Dear Yeti, you are now the target of 3 investigations and perhaps more. I mean, it's hard to even keep track of them, isn't it? But they're 3 charges. Some are more easy to understand than others, and you can help me. So one of them, conspiracy to commit an offence to defraud the United States. Okay, sure. There'd be no shortage of examples of that. The second one had me foxed. It's the deprivation of rights under the colour of law. ¿Qué pasa? I'm sorry, I hang out with a lot of lawyers and our legal systems are really different, but usually legal language is the same in both places. So if anyone can explain that one to me, deprivation of rights under the colour of law, what on earth is that? And witness tampering. Now, I'm just a humble sociologist from Australia, so I do get witness tampering. Okay, and then there'll be all sorts going on. So we're definitely going to get to that. But in the meantime, DeSantis has fired this week, he's fired 12 campaign organisers. Heads will roll. Why has he done that? Let's have a look, first off, at DeSantis and the sacking of 12 in-house campaign staff. That's a big thing. Let's have a look at DeSantis to kick off. Oops, there we go. Well, oh, I got a very rare reversal. Okay, now in the middle, this was the aim of the game. We've got this depraved lunatic out there, or DeSantis could run for president, right? It seemed easy. He won huge in Florida, at least it looked like that from the outside at the time. He thought, great, let's go. I can't be as incandescently stupid as the Yeti. I've got this in the bag. And now what's worrying him, the root of the issue? Not so much Ron DeSantis. So things are not flying. Now, in every state, when people start leaving a state, you've always got the diehards who say, good riddance, it'll be better with them gone, waving them off. But this is serious stuff. This is business, actually no longer having confidence in the state. This is not a good place to be. Short-term past. All of a sudden, lots happening at the same time. I mean, it's hard to bully a whole state into submission. It's a full-time job. You don't get much of a weekend. You've got to come up with another fascist law to hit people over the head with. You've got to come up with ways to sabotage children's education. I mean, you've got to work out how to control women's bodies. This is a lot. It's a lot to do all at once. He's given it his best shot, but he's failing. Okay, now, normally the 4 of Wands, the wedding card, it's a 4, strong roots, very well balanced, something to build on. It was reversed. Guys, you know me well enough to know I would only get a reversal once a year, It's reversed. The stability has gone. He has actually destabilized the state. And I think this isn't unnoticed he will have to account in some way. Now, I will freely admit I am 67. I don't know if I've got enough years left to wait for the legal process to unfold against DeSantis if it's as slow as it has been against Trump. So I'm just saying here, a personal shout out to the DOJ, get your skates on. I said, love, I said, pet, get your skates on. Judgment card. I think it will come to legal issue after legal issue, more of these. But now I'm going to pull a couple of extra cards because I want to know about the staffers. Those of you learning tarot, this sometimes happens. You ask a question and it's like saying, well, you need to know the lay of the land. So let's have a look. I'll just pull 3 cards on these actual sackings. Okay. Oh, sorry for laughing. Oh my God. Now, Ace of Wands, this is big forward motion that cuts through. There's always a legal angle to these big swords as well. But it's known in the tarot trade as the cutting through the BS card. Okay, so he thinks that's what he's doing. His people have done an evaluation of where he is sitting with other people, and of course have come up with the information he's not that popular in his own backyard, right? Now, this has to be DeSantis's wife. Now, I've only read a few things in the last couple of years about her, but we should all research her because by all accounts, she's the power behind the throne. The Empress, when it's a positive card, there's largesse and generosity and fertility of ideas. This is the nightmare Empress who thinks mums for liberty are a good idea, right? I think this is his wife, and she won't take responsibility, you can be assured, for giving him bad ideas. No, it's everyone else's fault. So I think it all came from her. So if you know any dirt on DeSantis's wife, let me know. Love the goss. Okay, so in Michigan, there are 16 fake electors, and they're facing very serious charges, felony charges. This is all separate from Georgia. This is Michigan. These are big charges. Defrauding Uncle Sam. Well, it used to be a thing. I'd like to see it be a thing again, wouldn't you? So I'm going to have a look. What is coming up for these Michigan fake electors? And they're the ones who signed off on completely fake paperwork. And I don't know about the fine print on this. I don't know if they were hardworking people who were just told sign here and didn't know, or whether they were deeply complicit. But you know what? These charges and their cases are going to be telling us the answer to that. So let's have a look. The fake electors in Georgia. Fake electors in Georgia. Sorry, hush the lips. Let's start again. Michigan. Fake electors in Michigan. Fake electors in Michigan. We should check in on Fani Willis, by the way. Michigan. Let's have a look at these charges. Oh, my word. I only pulled 4 cards and 3 are major arcana. That is telling me right off the bat, oh my God, this story's got legs. We were looking at Georgia all this time and quietly Michigan was doing its thing. The world, this is big. This is Much bigger than I thought. And I'm pleased that it's this big. Okay. Now, and it will have implications for other states. But they've got to get these cases done, dusted out before the 2024 cycle. I'm sorry, this dragging the chain stuff. Okay, but the prosecutors have a lot of energy around it. They have massive strength. So is Michigan still Gretchen Whitmer? Is she still the governor? Can someone let me know? The magician. I think this is magic on both sides. I think there'll be attempts to make this go away on some level, but I don't think they'll work. We have here the false knight. This is someone, my vibe on this is someone who's going to go to the fake electors and say, don't worry about this. I've got it sorted. Do not trust this man or these men or women for that matter. I think this is legal people or people I even heard pretending to be legal. Ooh, because these cases have been going on for so long that now all the good lawyers have left Dodge and you've only got the ambulance chasers left. I think this is going to be legal problems for them and they're going to fall for it. Let me just pull another couple of cards. What's going to happen to their 16? What's going to happen to their 16? The fake electors in Michigan. Well, you know, they put themselves in this position, getting into cahoots with dark money. I don't know if that means they were actually paid, which could make it much worse. And maybe out of the 16, some of them were. I think we got the money trail's going to be important, either GOP donor money or money that was paid. But they did it to themselves. I'm sorry, I should be a more evolved person, but I'm not. And sympathy level is sub-zero, as it is for Javanka. So, as some of you will have heard, Michael Cohen is convinced that Jared and Ivanka are spilling their guts routinely, have been for 2 or 3 years, to avoid their own legal culpability. So let's just dip in there. If they can walk away with that 2.5 billion from the Saudis, which we all knew about, as he was allegedly a public servant without a security clearance, I don't care what he's got to say to them or her for that matter. These deals should have to stop somewhere, maybe 10 years instead of 400. But if they just swan, I'll be upset and I'm not even American. All right. Cranky auntie. Cranky auntie. Javanka, where are they at? Where are they at? Excuse me while I check my notes because I don't want to miss. This is Javanka. What are they thinking? What are their deals? What are they up to? Oh, they get the world card too. They get the 5 of cups too. I put those cards back different places in the deck and shuffled, and they got both those cards. Oh, look, if the cards are meant to come out, they come out. It's amazing to me how this happens. Okay. So they're massively confused. Well, I think they spend their lives in a state of delusion, don't they, really? I think they thought they were smart and had a good deal, and maybe they're not so sure. they've got their escape hatch ready. People often say, will Trump do a runner? I've never had that vibe for him. I've always had it for them. They realise, I think this is all sort of current. Why they're confused is they realise they haven't got as much money as they thought. This is what happens when you're dealing with billions and parts of billions. You look away and suddenly it disappears. You buy half a dozen handbags and a maladjusted pedigreed dog, and you've blown hundreds of thousands of dollars. Her handbags could feed a third world country. Oh, things are going, we're finally going to hear something about this. I think this action is quite fast now. I think Michael Cohen's right. I think they've been doing this for 2 years, 3 years. And now the Yeti is actually got his letter as a target. I think we're going to hear some of what they have said. Meanwhile, Don Jr. will go into rehab, and I don't know, maybe Eric will start a used car franchise in Florida. You know, who knows what will happen to these people. But my last read for today is how Trump is going to react to this. Like, he leapt onto his illustrious site, Truth Social. Well, he would have been rattling around in there. He'd be the only person on there. Okay, so let's have a look how he's handling the letter. Let's call it the letter. And one more snippet of news. Amazon workers in the UK have been on strike because it is a disgusting business model. It's like the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and people just worked at their machines, then they lost a hand, they'd chuck them out, they'd get another desperate worker in, you know, they'd have a terrible industrial accident, then the next one would be called in. Conditions are so bad, they're being forced to work minute to minute. You know, so it's that classic managerial technique. You time someone doing an action for 5 minutes. Maybe they can do something 27 times in 5 minutes. Then you just extrapolate that out to an 8-hour shift. The human body, the human psyche does not work like that. And their slogan is, I am not a robot. Bless them. More power to their elbow. So how is the Yeti handling this development? Oh, what fell out? Empress Day. Things, this is a different interpretation of the Empress than before. I shall explain in a minute. Okay, so juicy, very juicy. In the middle, here we have the Empress. The Empress energy expands everything. So things that were a little bit bad or even medium bad are now mega bad. I think it might have even penetrated the cast iron skull of the Yeti, that he's in trouble. Nobody told me I shouldn't do this. Well, I'm president. Aren't I still president? Who are you? Yeah. I think it's only dawning. It's only dawning. Well, needs no explanation for where this is heading. Trump Tower. You've got to love this. Yeah. Now, this is what sanity remains in the American legal system. Coming into force here, they're going to be very, very careful how they manage this imbecile. And I think that's everything from minders to how the legal information is revealed. They've got to be very, very careful. The GOP, of course, have decided that Jonestown was actually a precedent for the Republican Party, and they're buying up the Kool-Aid in anticipation. They are going to go down with this man. He's holding on to the vestiges of what's left. Alternatively, this could be Jack Smith going, you think this is bad? Ha! I'm leaning more towards the second. So, guys, let me know what you think about everything that's going on now, because it is finally heating up, as is July. Okay. So, my darlings, I'll see you soon. I've got to go now. Bye, bye, bye. Get in touch.